Hey everybody, my name's Emerson Keith and I'm going to be showing you what's in my bag for the 2023 season. So first, I like to start off with my putters, the most important thing in the bag. This year I'm going to be putting with the BLUEBONNETs. It was a very easy choice for me. It was a very easy switch. The putter comes smooth out of my hand, very consistent stability, doesn't get squirrely in the wind. I'll be switching between the V1 plastic, which is a little bit more flimsy, and the V2 plastic depending on the weather. So those are my putters. Next, I'll move on to one of my upshot utility putters. It is going to be the V1 Armadillo. V1 is a little bit more flimsy, and this thing can handle quite a bit of torque. I wouldn't say it can handle all the torque, but I can definitely put a good move on it and get all kinds of shapes and angles out of this disc. Next approach putter is going to be the penny putter. I like this Santa Abe Lincoln one. They're all really good, no matter the plastic, they all pretty much fly the same. But I'll be using this for straight to turnover, even maybe a little bit of hyzer, unless it's really windy. So really good straight approach putter right here. Oh, let's see, another approach putter. They got a lot of good ones. So a lot of you know that my forehand approach game is my most comfortable approach game. So this was an easy choice. It's the Copperhead in the V2. V2 is the stiffer of the plastics. I like my sidearm disc to be pretty stiff so my thumb doesn't dig too deep into the plastic and it just comes off that edge really nice. This one will be thrown on like little baby hyzers to stand up a little bit of turn and then some fight back. If I want just hyzer, I gotta put a lot of hyzer on it because this isn't the most stable of the approach discs that I have. Next one is a mid-range. It's called the Harpoon. I chose the Victor plastic. And this disc is going to be really, really good for the slight headwind shots that I want to throw flat. It goes straight for maybe like 200 feet to 230 and then just hyzer at the end. I shouldn't get too much turn out of it. So should be pretty consistent on those light windy days. All right, I'm just going to move right on to it. Probably the most famous disc in my bag. I lost it right before I made the switch, but once I made the switch, I was messing around with some approach mid-ranges and I found the one, and someone from the team was nice enough to dye it just the same as my old one. So here's the first look at it. I got the Bruins back, this time on a walker. This thing is just like my old Bruins disc, really overstable, can handle pretty much anything. Shout out to Ninja Disc Golf for dyeing me this disc and getting it to me so fast. This is awesome, and y'all are gonna see this a lot on coverage and when you come out to watch tournaments. Definitely one of my favorites in the bag. Keep going down my mid-range line. I got a BB6. For me, this disc is a very straight to turnover, very glidey mid-range. I think I can throw this thing just as far as some of my fairway drivers in the right conditions, sometimes even farther because it just wants to stay up in the air. It's got a really nice rounded edge, feels great in the hand. I think a lot of people are going to be able to throw this disc and I think they're going to love it. So BB6. I'm excited for this one. I got a Texas Ranger. This is a disc that I've been missing in my bag for years. Just that nice mid-range that you can throw hard. I can throw this thing hard on a little bit of hyzer and it just pops straight up and then goes forever. This is gonna unlock a lot of new angles and shots for me in the 2023 season. This one specifically in my bag right now is the Founders plastic. All of the Team Lone Star Tour Series will actually be in Founders, so if your favorite player has a really good Tour Series, just know that that's coming out in Founders plastic this year. Next, I got the MIDI. It's obviously a mid-range. This thing is a meat hook. Not quite as overstable as the Bruins Walker that I have, but this one I would say is that disc just with more glide. So I can put this thing flat out to the right and it's just gonna hyzer back every time, and it can handle some pretty strong winds. So when it gets windy, I'll be throwing the MIDI. Let's move on to my fairway drivers. The most understable fairway driver in my bag is gonna be the Mockingbird, or the Cacaw. This disc is incredibly glidey. I think some of my teammates have thrown it farther than they've thrown any of the distance drivers, which is crazy. They just get it way up in the air and this thing just drifts over and comes right back, and very easy to throw. I think all skill levels will be able to throw this disc. I'll personally be throwing it for shots like 400 to 420 feet that I don't want to take a lot off of my distance drivers, so I can just get a nice smooth throw out there. It's going to pop up straight and just keep going straight and finish straight to a little bit of fade. So Mockingbird. Next one is one of my favorites. I fell in love with this disc as soon as it was handed to me. I got the Frio. The Frio is just like my old Tour Series last year, except it's like that Tour Series but a little bit seasoned in. So I can throw this thing a little bit of hyzer. It's gonna flip up, drift a little bit, and then hyzer back at the end. Pretty much just like a dream shot in disc golf. Everybody wants to see that flip up, turn, and come back. So I can throw this thing forehand, backhand, left-handed, all of it. This thing's a really good disc, and I'll be throwing it a ton next year. I got another fairway driver. This is gonna be the fastest fairway driver in my bag. I got a Mad Cat. This is, I believe, around a 9 speed, so a little bit faster for a fairway, but it has some really nice overstability. So when it gets windy and I need some pretty good distance, but not quite throwing like my WARBIRD or something like that, I can put this thing out there flat, and it's just gonna hold flat a little bit and then come back and get a good skip. So Mad Cat will be thrown mainly on windy days or days that I just need the fairway distance with hook at the end. So loving the Mad Cat. Now we're getting more into the drivers, which I'm always excited about because these things go far. I got an 11-speed NIMITZ. So when I first got this disc, I thought, no way I'm gonna throw it, like this thing's flippy, how could I use that? And then I started really messing with it, and it unlocks some shots for me. Normally, I would, basket's off to the right, it's pretty far, I would just throw a sidearm and hope that I hit a long putt. But now that I have this NIMITZ, I can throw a backhand out there, a little bit of hyzer, and it's just gonna flip up real nice and hold over all the way. So it's almost like having like a Eagle McMahon sidearm, just I can throw backhand with this disc right here. So I'm really liking this disc. Still learning it, love it right now. Oh, one of my favorites. They're all my favorites. I know I keep saying that, but truly one of my favorites. We got a bayonet. A lot of you know that that I really rely on my sidearm a lot, and this disc makes me rely on it a little bit more because it's so good. This is a fairly overstable, more on the overstable side of discs. Definitely kind of hard to get it to like flip and just burn over. But I'm going to be throwing it in the Bravo and the Alpha plastic. The Bravo is a little bit more overstable and a little flatter, so I'll be able to get flat release, doesn't drift over, and then hyzers at the end, but these things go far. And then the Alpha plastic I'm going to be using more for my backhands, like max distance shot. I'll be able to throw this thing up on a little bit of ante. It's going to hold, and then just hyzer back at the end. Just like, you ever see people do distance competitions, they throw it way up in the air and then just beautiful flight. That's what this disc is going to do for me. So we get to an open course, I'm going to be crushing on the bayonet. Oh, I almost forgot. I have a glow bayonet as well. It's been hit by a car, so it's a little bit damaged, but damage isn't bad. We still love the glow bayonet. The next driver in my bag is the WARBIRD, and it is a great complement to the bayonet. It has similar feel to the bayonet, so I like that. So I don't have to drastically change the feel in my hand, but it's significantly more overstable. I bag a pop top one and a flat one. The pop top one is just crazy beefy. Good luck turning this thing over. I have yet to burn this one over, and trust me, I've tried. And my flat one is just a really nice flyer. I like this one for throwing like straight, hard ante shots in the woods that just hold over a little bit and then hyzer back. I can really carve lines with these discs, and I can also really trust them in the wind. So those are my WARBIRDs. Next, one of the newest additions to the bag. I actually got an ace with this thing yesterday. Check out the Lone Star YouTube channel to see that ace. Is the SEGUIN. This specific SEGUIN was given to me by Jaden Rye. Shout out to Jaden for sharing one of his good SEGUINs with me. This one kind of has its own category because it's not like the WARBIRDs. It doesn't go WARBIRD distance, but the overstability of it makes it a super crucial disc to have, super important disc to have in the bag. Because it gets windy, you're going to want something that you can trust, and I can really trust this thing in the wind, forehand and backhand. So I'll be throwing a lot of like shorter hyzer spike shots with this, maybe some little flex forehands in the woods. So loving the SEGUIN. The next one, I think everybody has this type of disc in their bag. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you what it is. It's the CHUPACABRA. If you haven't tried this disc, you're missing out. This thing, you can throw it as hard as you want. Everyone has this kind of disc in their bag. Most people refer to this type of disc as a Firebird. This is the most overstable Firebird anyone has ever seen. So if your Firebirds are flipping, which they probably are, get you a CHUPACABRA. This thing is amazing. I can throw this thing as hard as I want in any kind of wind and it's not gonna turn over. I throw this disc forehand and backhand, super utility disc. I can do anything with it. So CHUPACABRA, Firebirds flipping, get it, it's better. The last mold in my bag, I love this disc. I've pretty much fallen in love with all these discs as soon as I started throwing them, but it's gonna be the Tombstone. I bagged the Alpha and the Bravo in the Tombstone. My Alpha one, I've beat in already somehow, and I really like these on forehands mainly, but it's my nice like 360 to 380 80-foot forehands. If I really get behind it, maybe 400 feet. But I can throw this beat in Alpha 1 hard flat, and it just holds flat for a while and strong finish at the end. And then my Bravo 1, if I throw it flat, it's just going straight right. This thing is incredibly beefy. I'll be really trusting it in the wind, especially probably out at like DDO or anywhere that's open that gets a lot of wind. I'm gonna be trusting these discs a lot, and I'll be throwing them a lot. So get yourself a Tombstone. Great forehand disc, feels good in the hand. And here's my bag. Got a nice patch, nice pockets. Yeah. So that is my 2023 in the bag. Thanks for watching, and throw Lone Star discs.